fails for lack of a second.
Okay,
Is there any other motion to come before the body?
that's it. Number 6.
I will make a motion to reinstate and retain Agatha as finance director starting tomorrow if she's available.
Do I have a second?
I'd like to ask Agatha if she wants to come back to the job. I thought she would be here tonight to ask her, you know. I know that didn't get asked the other night.
Did you get an email?
What?
There's an email?
There's an email?
Yeah, it came in about 5 p.m.
No, I think he's saying he wants to
Oh,
ask
I
her
didn't know
directly.
she sent the email.
Oh,
And she's, what's the email say?
She couldn't make it tonight.
I could read it to you. Unfortunately, I will not be in a position to attend this evening's special meeting. I still believe I can make a positive impact for the city, but you're the judge. I understand that changes and challenges are usually painful, but the results are very enriching. Sincerely,
So I guess that sounds like a yes.
Sounds like he come back.
That's my opinion though, not her words.
You know, I believe that the concern isn't whether she wants to come back or not, it's whether this is grounds for termination or not. So that goes to her decision as opposed to making the decision for her, so.
Yeah.
All right, do we have a second so we can discuss?
Was there a
Anita.
second on the motion?
Not yet, I'm just asking that.
On Sarah's motion.
Anita, did you second?
I'm asking for a second now, Bob.
Anita, Anita seconded.
Anita seconded, okay. Any more discussion?
Mr. Mayor, if I could?
Yes, sir.
So, I understand what some of the public has stated here tonight, and I understand the charter isn't perfect. Irregardless if the charter is perfect or not, the charter was interpreted by an independent agency, and she was found to violate it with just the 5 items that were given to them, and I'm sure there's probably more. If the charter isn't perfect, as you stated, there is a process in order to change it. And this is true with any of the laws on in the state of Connecticut or in the United States. There is a process to change these laws. Until the process is complete and the law is changed, we must live by the law that is on the books, the way it is written. I do this every day, and I've done it for 30 years, upholding the laws of the state of Connecticut. Now, I sit here at these meetings and I listen to members of this board who often question, have we done this process by the charter? Is the charter being used? I like to hope that everything we do is by the charter. But now tonight, because there's excuses, which I can honestly tell you, I followed up on some of the statements that were made. I spoke to the police chief myself, which obviously our finance director didn't recall a meeting that she had in August with him in regards to body cameras, line items, and budgetary numbers, which wasn't brought forth in the meeting. But I will not sit here. We need to draw a line. This government has to function. She was brought on board to make policy and put us in the right way to do things financially. The city has to move forward, no matter who's sitting in that mayor's chair, knowing that the finance director is following the rules and completing the process the way that it's supposed to go. I don't know if I was sitting in that chair and I knew that every time I needed money, somebody just go out and transfer things without getting permission or following the rules. So to sit here tonight and say all her excuses were great, will allow her to break the rules, to me, is an injustice because the rules are there for a reason. We are trying to move this government forward, obviously by trying to bring a professional in who I thought at the time had the best credentials moving forward. I was mistaken. I'm not afraid to admit it based upon the evidence that I have, I was mistaken. But we need to move this city forward. This process of allowing the Board of Aldermen and Alderwomen is an open process and one that moves this city forward. By retaining people that admittedly state that they're gonna break the charter because it was done in the past, so they don't think it's a big deal. At what point do we draw the line, people? Do we follow the rules, or when somebody has an excuse, we just let it go. We are the fathers of this city. We need to draw the line somewhere. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Anybody else?
It's, Barbara, I wanna speak to.
Go ahead, Barbara.
Go ahead, Barbara.
Okay. Then, what part of her contract, what section specifically, is, the recommendation to terminate her coming from?
Are you talking about the recommendation from the mayor, or is it this board?
Well, he said he's saying recommend her for termination for cause. Is he referring to her contract, or she has a contract, he said?
Correct.
Which provides reasons for
Correct.
termination. So is one of those being cited?
Yeah, he's bringing it up right now, but.
Yeah, it's, she has a contract with the city. Okay. Handed out, I'm sorry, I had it out last time. Quicker. Hold on one second, Barbara. It's quicker if I pull it up on my computer.
Did you get a copy of that?
You want to?
The contract, did you get a copy?
Yeah.
But you don't have to.
I have it. Pull it up on my computer. I have it in a. I have it right here. All right. So. We're talking about.
6, number 6.
Paragraph 6. Termination of employment, 6.1. The employment term and the employee's employment under this agreement may be terminated by mutual written agreement of the parties at any time. Notice of non-renewal of agreement by either party in accordance with section 1. The city has set forth in section 6.3. The employee's death is set forth in section 6.4. So, we go to 6.3. Cities may terminate the employment term and the employee's employment under this agreement for cause at any time upon any of the following: the employee's poor performance and or failure to perform the duties and responsibilities of the finance position as determined by the city, which is not cured within 30 days following written notice to the employee by the city of the employee's poor performance and or failure to perform, or the employee's engagement in dishonesty, illegal conduct, and or gross misconduct, which is in each case materially injurious to the city's business or reputation, in which violates city policies, codes of conduct, conflict of interest policies, or other policies adopted by the city from time to time. The employee's indictment or conviction for commission of a felony, the employee's misuse of alcohol, etc. The employee's commission of an act which involves malfeasance of moral turpitude, which has, or if generally known, would be reasonably likely to have a materially adversely effect on the city's business or reputation. So this could theoretically, if this would fall under 6.3B if you were gonna terminate for cause.
Well, why wouldn't it be under A?
Well, if it was under A, you'd have to give 30 days to cure.
Well, kind of said, the mayor's statement. Second, I'd like to say is that, apparently a packet was given tonight of a lot more information that would have been, should have been given to the board as soon as possible. And me not being there, and one of the reasons is because, and it will come up at another time, was that I requested a hybrid remote meeting, and I was denied that request on behalf of myself and anybody from the public. So, it appears to me, you know, a lot of what was just read into the record by the mayor, you know, it is not something that the board has had the opportunity to, absorb. But also, the city, which I still didn't get an answer on how much that investigative report cost, where that payment came from, and who authorized that, that payment. But if the city went to the extent to get an investigative report from the Homey Sable, who indicated, based on their review, that what that Agata's actions were reasonable under were reasonable in light of everything that they investigated, and as well as the city's practices. And further, this morning I listened to the MFAC meeting, and one of the members of the commission named Kim, I don't know her last name, she asked our city independent auditor, John Accavello, how the new finance director had been doing. And he said the city made much progress since she was hired. So, in my books, that still goes a long way. And yes, I was on the hiring committee, and the city, for what she walked into and what she did at this point, if somebody has a personality conflict, you know, it happens, you know, that's life. But, you know, I at this point, I think on the totality of the circumstances, the information we were provided, what she explained to us, that it doesn't seem at this point, and by the contract, you should have an opportunity to continue in employment here. I'm done.
Anita?
Yeah, I just, if Agata was here, I wanted to, mention that the policies that never got past the draft phase and discussion was stopped abruptly by not being present at the newly developed finance subcommittee. So you're saying, well, it's past practice. Well, there was no, she's working on policies to continue and do the right thing under the certain policies and procedures. But it was stopped abruptly. And I would have told her that, I believe her when she says she had nowhere to go, and I believe that, she needs to return as our chief fiscal officer of the city of Derby. I trust she'll do the best work to put our finances in order. And this enclosed, flow chart shows, this was proposed by your administration. I don't know if we have to vote on that, but it shows she reports directly to the mayor. And that, that is in working, then that's what I would propose that we would follow that flow chart, and she would just directly be under you, and that's all.
Anybody else? Nothing, you want to take a vote?
I have a prepared statement that I wanted to read. Going into this, I kept an open mind, so it was my understanding that coming into the last two meetings of this board that the only items on the agenda was to discuss was the results of the investigation pertaining to the personnel matter concerning Derby's finance director. We were instructed previously, as was Agata, that, quote, this is a personnel meeting scheduled for the limited purpose to address the findings of the investigator's report, end quote. When Monday's meeting opened in a discussion of a $200,000 line of credit with Bank of America, and the subsequent discussion pertaining to this line of credit for the better part of an hour plus, it was a curveball to this Board of Aldermen and Alderwomen, as it was the first time we were hearing of this topic. We did not receive any kind of correspondence concerning this line of credit prior to Monday's meeting. So regardless if this line of credit was executed improperly, which can never be proven because we don't have any policies in place, And it went undisputed at Monday's meeting that Agatha, the mayor, and a former chief of staff verbally agreed to this action. It was never once mentioned in this report, therefore should not have been a part of this hearing. I kept an open mind throughout this entire process, beginning when we were first informed in early March that Agatha was being put on paid administrative leave, right up until the moment we sit here now discussing a resolution to this matter. But I keep coming back to the policies and procedures having never been established in our finance department, ever. As I was leaving Monday's meeting, the seal on the City of Derby flag caught my eye. The seal indicates established May 13th, 1675. The City of Derby is 347 years old, and we have absolutely no policies or procedures in place in our finance department. Now think about that for a second. We're 347 years old and without policies and procedures in our finance department. Yet we're holding someone's livelihood, reputation, and career hostage over a series of decisions that the CPAs and advisors that we, the City of Derby, hired to investigate Agatha's actions that were deemed reasonable and necessary. While Agatha's decisions were not based on sound budgeting practices, her actions were reasonable and necessary, and in all likelihood, shielded the city from liability resulting from non-payment. As we sit here this evening, there is not one financial expert on this board. The City of Derby hired a firm of financial experts who again deemed Agatha's actions reasonable and necessary. We as a board are not supervisors of the day-to-day operations of the employees in City Hall. We are charged with making a decision solely based on the personnel matter within the investigative report, not the information regarding a credit line that Attorney Marino brought up on Monday, or any other day-to-day matters in City Hall, as we are not supervisors or evaluators. Derby's finances were nothing short of a disaster before Agatha arrived, and having not moved towards reconciliation since she was put on leave. I've been a resident of Derby my entire life, and in 49 years, I have yet to see a more important decision come before this Board of Aldermen and Alderwomen than the one we're about to make tonight.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I just wanted to briefly talk about, we talk a lot about professionalism and transparency. And I think what we need to do is we need to look at the situation at hand and see where is the progressive discipline? Has there been progressive discipline? What is the documentation? And seeing none, I believe in that transparency and professionalism that we should take it upon ourselves to move forward and say, we have to not take this into consideration.
Okay, anybody else? I'm gonna do a roll call, I can see where this is going. All in favor to reinstate Agatha, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? No. No, Charlie's the only one, or you want it for the record?
You're the chair.
Do the roll call. So it's 8-1. All in favor except Charlie. Okay. All right, number 6, adjournment.
Motion to adjourn, 6:44.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you for showing up. Rob, enjoy your vacation.